All right, speculators, welcome to the Power Hour, next live broadcast here. As soon as somebody comes in, if you can give me just a 1 for picture and sound. I was told that the sound is a little low, so what I've done is
All right, speculators.
I have increased the audio, so hopefully it should be okay. But if I'm blowing your ears out, let me know. Don't want to be doing that. All right. Nobody watching yet, so all right, thanks guys. Appreciate it. All right. So for this broadcast, we're going to do things a little bit differently. Let me get this out of the way. Move that down to there. And we're going to stick on stay in your lane here this afternoon. But I'm just going to stay on the one chart across a couple different instruments. So for the most part, I'll be using the Dow Jones. I'm in a similar situation where, these are good problems to have. Already had a pretty strong trading day across another series of accounts, and then I logged into these, which are their take profit. What's the name of this firm? Tradeify, and a couple live ones. Okay. And I had the copier on at various times, and I'll be using the copier here too as well. So we are just right here in the middle of the range, right? Right here in the middle of the range. Let me tighten this up a little bit. And there's your stay in your lane. You couldn't ask for a more perfect lane. Now, my understanding is that Trump is going to speak either before 3 p.m. Central, 1 here on the left coast, 4 Eastern, or maybe right at the bell. So this should be a little interesting as it is Liberation Day, and we could see some more movement. We've already seen 100% ATR today. I use a 7-day ATR. So this strategy here is pretty darn simple. So given the fact that we could get some unexpected little moves here, instead of trading off of VWAP, you could trade off of VWAP a little more aggressively if you wanted. I'm just going to put an order down here.
Submitted.
And yes, it's in the copier. All right. And then one up here at the red line, which is +2s. All right. And then we'll just basically sit and wait. So the idea is to do a little bit less talking as opposed on random topics, and we'll just keep it to what we're seeing here on the charts. Okay. So there it is on the S&P, on the Dow Jones. Here on the S&P, similar look. Okay, we got some pretty correlated markets. Let me go ahead and I use the Replicanto trade copier. And what I've found, I actually had a pretty significant error today on Ninja, which I have not seen in a while, when I was copying between Rhythmic accounts and Tradeovate accounts on Ninja. I got some really wacky orders and stuff like that. So I'm going to go back to where the live account is always the lead account. So that's this one right here. It's a live Ninja account. Let me just make sure the copier's on. It is. I want it in this IB account as well. And we'll just be resting an order down here at 56.49 and another one up here at 57.34. Okay. And now the wild child that everyone likes to look at, the NASDAQ. You can probably see how we did get the drop right down to VWAP in all the markets. Here it was in I already said I was going to stick to one chart, and I'm already ripping all over the place. This is kind of who I am. I'm going to try to adjust, but why do you want somebody who just trades one thing, right? But anyway, the strategy is the same. There's the touch of VWAP, so we've been having nice bounces off of VWAP. All right. I don't know yet how to run a poll, but in the future, I'll just do a poll and we'll determine which market we want to stay on. For now, we're going to stay on the Dow because that is the market that's the slowest, generally easiest to manage, and the one that I recommend in the Prop Done Right ebook. Yeah, it was my first situation where I had a major error on NinjaTrader in a long time. I don't run any external scripts on Ninja anymore. I don't have any external indicators or any other code or anything on there, so it's been pretty rock solid. But today something super wacky happened, and it fired off like orders for 4 micro NASDAQ 100 times, and then those didn't get filled in the live accounts because there was not margin to do so, but I had to close them all. Anyway, it was quite weird. Self-awareness is a great trait. Yeah, no, it's actually the guys that have to edit these down into reusable bytes. They watched the stream yesterday and they said, it's we're gonna need it. I'm gonna need you to come in this weekend and get on that TPR report or whatever it is. All right, I do have a live trade here that I saw on the right here, so I'm just going to run it right under.
Order submitted.
And then put an order to buy.
Order submitted.
Here if it comes back, so we at least get in some trades. All right, the actual target on this would be up here at.
Order submitted.
At 42.40s. So let me show you a little trick. Many of you know this trick if you use Ninja. We're going to do OCR. We're going to do a sell stop there.
Order submitted.
And now these are associated orders. So if this gets taken out, this will get taken out as well. And it looks like it could get taken out here in a moment. Yeah. The guys are probably watching, so I'm not gaslighting you. I think the idea of, all right, see how that one is gone now? So I'll actually put it up here as a short entry now. Yeah, the more quiet I am, the more dead space, the easier it is just to pick out the clips of where there might be some goodness. So sorry, no more answer the public. While we sit and watch paint dry a little bit, though, I did want to bring in the treasuries here. One of the things that I think makes me a little different is I know there's some folks that were trading treasuries back when they were available at all the firms, but now some of the firms have gotten rid of them. But here's the ZN, and this is in a classic bull continuation pattern where essentially all of the. I know this looks busy, like there's a lot of crap on this chart. Excuse me, it's not really, it's pretty simple. This is a 233 EMA. And this puts us in a bull continuation pattern inside day from yesterday. And this was an extreme turn sell that we got that eventually got you done and kind of picked the top here. So as we go into non-farm payroll on Friday, the ZN's setting up in an interesting way where it's just trading between 111 and 112. And for those options traders where I started talking about options a little bit, I'm trying to work orders to sell the 111s. When the market was coming down here, I was trying to get them, but the premium didn't get high enough for me. I have some rules around the minimum amount of premium that I need. And then up here would be an interesting spot to sell calls. 64 ticks in the ZN, and this is 1,000 points between those two levels. So I'll get into that a little bit more. If indeed we just see a super boring market as we wait for Liberation Day to kick in. I'm also not going to jump between charts. We'll just stay on Ninja, but in future broadcasts, I'll just start on something like either the TickBlaze platform or TradingView, and we'll just sit on that. We'll stay on that platform, and I can describe the differences between the strategies on the platform, but they're not that different. The only major difference is on TradingView, you don't really have access to these Brickwick bars, these modified Renkos. So we're going to use time-based bars over there. In terms of charting and analysis, this is what's great about these day trading strategies, which is that there's not a lot of analysis to do. There's not a lot of analysis. What I'd be doing if you're first learning these things is come in here and measure the distance of the entire bands for right now. So again, this is the Dow Jones, and what I'm going to do is measure the distance of these bands from here to here. And it's 714 points. Okay? 714 points. And then over here, you'll see that the YM, now if you don't understand any of this, then keep tuning into the streams. Eventually you'll get it and it'll all come together. The expected range for the entire 23-hour session is 693. All right, so here's the important thing that, oops, I moved the wrong one out of the way. Just a second. Let me get this. So why is that important? Well, why that's important is that we've already explored 100% of the expected range. When I say expected, I simply just mean, the math of it. How much has the market been moving on average over 23-hour period for this instrument? And the answer is about 700 points. And these bands are 700 points. So we only have 45 minutes left in today's trading session. For the cash session, of course, we get an extra hour after that. The probabilities are very high that we're going to stay inside these bands.
Order canceled. Order canceled.
Okay. All right, I just want to confirm one more time. I'm sorry to ask again, but I just wanted to make sure that the volume was pretty decent. Yesterday, people were telling me they had to jack up the volume. So can we one more time? The volume sounds like it does in the trade room for everybody. Anyone? I think that what I have to get used to is that the when you hear me, it's on a 20-second delay, so I don't see the comment until 20 seconds after I ask for it. Let me see if that's true. Could be there's no one here. That could be the case as well. So let's see here. Yeah, no one's letting me know, but I guess the sound is okay. Or hopefully I'd hear otherwise if it wasn't. Okay, thank you. A little lower than the chat room. That's interesting. All right, sound is good. Appreciate it. Okay, I'm trying to talk right into the mic. I kind of got it cranked up, and I hate when it's overly loud. So thank you for the feedback. Anyway, those that are not members or not familiar with my stuff, we're just going to hold on this chart for a little bit, and let me move this out of the way. We're going to hold on this chart for a little bit. Markets aren't really doing a whole lot. But what we just looked at was that the range of these bands here today are 714 points, which is what we would call 100% ATR. All right. So if you wanted trades that had a high probability of being easy to manage, I'm not saying there's an 80% or 90% chance that shorting 42.616 will be a winner or buying 41.919. We're simply just using probabilities and looking at the fact that right now we are chopping right around the middle of this area. And if you wanted to, you could be scalping between VWAP and the pink line there. Right? Oh, good question. So I am going to, I was going to ask that. I wonder if there's any way to, publish a question. Let me see. Pin, remove. When you're streaming on other streaming services, you can actually pull the chat thing up into. I would love to do that. That way I could provide some context. But for now, we'll do it old school, and we'll just read the question. What do you do when price just hangs out in the middle? Nothing. Nothing. And again, if you have the risk budget and you want to trade here, why don't I just do it for you?
Submitted.
Again, this is a real trade. I'd rather be long given this kind of setup than short trying to fade the 42,439. So let's just see if we can get a fill here. When you're first learning these strategies, though, more often than not, you want to use VWAP as a target for a long from the bid zone or below price, and a target for a short when you're short above price. You want to use VWAP as a target. But I'm not here to turn anyone into a robot or even say that you have to do things in a mean reversion style. All you have to do is not lose money. And eventually, with enough screen time, you will develop, quote unquote, your own style, which is really the equivalent of situational fluency. You've just seen things so many times before. You know how you want to react and act in those environments. But it seems like everything is farting around now. There's the S&P also above VWAP. Here's the NASDAQ also above VWAP. So we have some correlation today. So when price is not doing anything, you download Prop Done Right and you read it. And then you watch each lesson that comes out every day. Or if you're a multi-asset class trader or multi-products, multi-instruments, whatever you want to call them, you sit here and you root for
Order submitted.
your ZN to get a break above developing POC of 111 spot 180 and maybe a move up to 111 spot 230s. This strategy here is called the range trader, and I'll be spending time on just range trader charts on future broadcasts. I got a question yesterday about whether this was all that was shown in the room, stay in your lane. The answer is it's range trader and stay in your lane. We stick to two strategies if you wanted to find out more about what we do. Yesterday, I also went through a little exercise in target versus stop, and to get yourself a 2-to-1 reward to risk. So let's go through that exercise again real quickly here while we're not doing anything, which would be if I were to get long at 42,265, okay, 42,265, which is this order right here, I want to measure the distance between my entry and my first target. So I'll do that. And I get 173 points, right? What you need to do is know in dollar terms what your risk is as well. So it's half of that because it's 50 cents, right? So if we said 180 or something like that, it'd be 90 bucks, right? So it's a little less, $85. So it's an $85 first target. So if I have let me just do this here because we'll just do it all so we capture the whole thing. 173 divided by 2, it's basically 86. So we could just round it down to 85, right? So if I were to get long at 42,265 and I wanted a 2-to-1 reward to risk, I'd put in an 85-point stop and I'd do my darndest to see if I can let it go all the way up to target at 42,440. And what you've just done there are many ways to manage risk and for intratrade management. I personally don't generally have stops in the market. I'm working with an overall portfolio risk, or I'm not looking to have any particular trade cut into more than half of my risk budget, but I have a little bit larger risk budgets than most people would probably be using for these small accounts. But I can tell you that risking 85 points, or about $40 to make $80 is great. It sounds like something you would just make up and say, well, I risk 50 to make 100, but that's not dynamic. If you do that every day, you're not accounting for the dynamic nature of the markets. Right here, you are. Yes, you can change when you're in trades and everything. You can change. I don't know if I can change this ruler. Can you change the ruler? The output values of the ruler? That'd be kind of cool. So that the ruler, the Y value is actually. Can you do that? Y value displayed unit in price. Oh, I thought that was points. That's bars. Damn, I hope it's doing the math right. Yeah, it's doing the math right. That'd be cool. Can I do this in dollars? Currency. Yeah, there you go. Awesome. Yep. Okay, there's a risk reward tool as well. Okay. But anyway, I just changed this here. Makes it a lot easier. 86.50. Put a 40-point stop. And you're done. And you have a dynamic 2-to-1 risk reward ratio. We got it's like PTR afternoon edition, right? Everyone here is already a member. All right. Now you can't come after me because the chat will attack you. No, they won't. These guys aren't here to defend me. Don't trade like a drunk. Oh, you know what I was supposed to figure out today was how to play these sound things again. Come, I didn't figure that out. God, I really want to. All right, I should have done this earlier. I figured if I'd refresh it, then you could play it. I really should switch over to OBS. I'm like the only guy here using XSplit, and I don't even know how to use it. All right, well, we're doing a little zombie creep higher. S&P is approaching what would be the plus ones, which is 5706. Dow, which we've been watching. Remember resting orders there at -1 and +2. Oh, maybe I do that. Here we go. All right. Maybe there is a 20-second delay before you can tell me if you can hear it, but maybe this will play. Let's see.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
Here's the funny thing. I don't even remember how I did that. All right. Did you guys hear that? I'm going to play it again, just so I can remember.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
Okay. I think that worked. All right, good. You're entertained. All right. All right, I think I understand how to do this now.
Hello from the cockpit. This is your captain speaking. As you can see, it appears that we are going down. Now would be a good time to reflect on your life and pray to whatever deity you believe in. Thank you for flying shitty airlines. We know you have a choice in airlines, and it looks like you made the wrong one.
Oh, now I'm getting heavy breathing. Okay. I'm trying to make the sound better. All right, I'm not going to... I won't breathe in the mic. All right, I'm getting this down. Well, the markets are not very entertaining at the present moment. Everyone have a green day? Again, it was a day this morning in our trade room where I had mentioned we already had close to 100% ATRs, and you didn't want to sit on your hands for too long. I've had a couple days recently where it made more sense to wait for the opening 9, 15 minutes, half an hour, even an hour maybe to let the bands expand. But today you had definitely had enough range to get going. Yeah, definitely copyright strike. What do you think? Do we dare do it? Just get a few trades on here so we have something to look at.
Order filled. Order submitted.
Shorting right ahead of
Order submitted. Order filled.
plus ones, and then I do my self-deprecating.
Order filled.
Can't see that working out. At least we got in a trade. Short the Dow Jones ahead of Liberation Day. Yes, I just sold the plus one on the Dow Jones. So just sold the plus one on the Dow Jones, and I'm going to be extremely impatient with it because it was technically we're not in. So
order submitted.
We'll do here, here, and here.
Order submitted. Order submitted.
And then I want to switch the copier to
order filled.
There you go. We'll use 62.
Order filled.
All right. Can we scalp it? Do we get a little scalp? Or no? Haven't had a weak close in a little while. Haven't had a weak close in a little while. I guess the important thing of what I'm going to be doing here, folks, is just showing you how easy it is to just understand where the level is. Now, whether it works out or not, who knows? I'm going to stop out on one of them.
Order submitted. Order filled.
Reduce my size. Keep this ridiculously small. Target would be down here.
Order submitted.
If you want to know a little bit about how to get access to the bands that you're seeing here on NinjaTrader, you can look at the live that I did yesterday. Also, you can come into the trade room, and in the trade room we have access to this workspace for free. You do have to have a paid version of NinjaTrader or a licensed version of NinjaTrader in order to get these particular VWAP bands, which are built in.
Order submitted. Order submitted. Order filled.
All right. That whole thing was pretty silly, but now we can sell this little swing high. The swings that you see on here, these lines right here, these are 13 period swings. And as you can see, all they do is they capture little turning points that are identified by this particular bar type, which is a tick chart expressed as a configurable Renko offset tick chart. The longer the line, if you will, the longer this horizontal line, the bigger the movement was in the last swing. Now, not every single swing becomes a entry. God, if you did that, you'd just be, getting scalped chopped up all over the place. But once we get back inside of a zone, like this is a short signal right here at 42.44, I might as well just use the level that the market just showed me. Well, there's so many because it's just the math. I have it set at a 13 period. You can change the period if you want to have less swings, to only have more significant levels. I like them because there's not something you would see on a time-based bar. You just wouldn't see anything like this. So all of this just took place within the same 5-minute bar, right? Gonna have to figure out the timing. I think the last hour will be when I do these Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The only issue I'm dealing with a little bit is that, and I'm not making any excuses. This is, regardless of the outcome of this trade, it's not a trade I would take. I would take the +2s, or I would scalp off VWAP, but not short up here. So why am I in it? I don't know. We're figuring it out, messing around, showing you. It's a valid level. You can sell +2s whenever you want. I mean, but so I'll figure that out so that we can kind of. It's a mixture, a balance between actually doing something and looking at something and having something to watch and talk about versus just sitting on our hands and doing absolutely nothing. I did see a question about a feeling about what the market will do given what's happening with the Trump announcement and the tariffs. I shouldn't say never. I rarely have. I don't like the F word, like feel, trying to predict. That's not our job. There's a more likely probability today than other days that we could see some wackiness right at the 1 p.m. Close, 3 Central, 4 Eastern. So given that, if you don't want to deal with that kind of stuff, you could get flat. One thing that I often talk about, all forms of news, or known potential economic events or news, is that I love it because all it does is make the market move more quickly to a resting order that I have. It doesn't change my strategy. So for instance, something happens wacky, we could just rip up here to the +2s or rip down here to VWAP really quickly. And that's where I want to be in anyway. So I welcome the randomness because at least it gives us something to be in. I don't have feelings. Quick look at the S&P. It is also, markets are looking very correlated now in terms of their structure relative to, I'm going to cancel
Order canceled.
cancel my pending orders in the S&P since I'm already in a Dow trade. But the S&P is doing the same thing, pushing a little higher. Any TDGers that were in Dow, probably from the long side from right here? I would imagine there are some of you guys that were, if you were doing an all-day trade kind of thing or watching the markets, this was a nice long and you just actually took profit there. The F word, feelings. Feelings. Nothing more than feelings. I did watch a little of the broadcast yesterday and realized I just didn't sing enough. Get more people to do more likes if you sing more. Feelings. In terms of stats and tagging things, I currently don't do that anymore. I think there are many trade journals which are fantastic at doing that. You can import the trades, put a little tag on there, and indicate. The thing is that they're not all created equal, right? It's dynamic. You'd have to tag +1, +2, also with an overlay of what the volatility profile was, and even time of day and a bunch of other things. So as I mention all the time, the key is that over 80% of price action for the S&P is going to take place within 2 standard deviations, regardless of the volatility profile. So that just puts you in a pretty good spot. And remember, at any time, you can make adaptations. You don't always have to say, I'm going to enter trades only at +1s or +2s, counter trend, mean reverting. You can trade the exact same strategy and find little microclimates and pockets of times to just trend trade for a period of time. There's also time of day considerations, which is what I'm going to have to adjust. More often than not, near the close, you don't get a whole lot of really great two-way action. It sort of picks a direction and tends to grind in that direction. You might see a little bit of a change at the market on close, but you don't see that. Where you don't see it very often. Whereas with the open and the first 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 90 minutes of the trading day, you can very often get more, whatever you want to call it, price discovery, two-way price action and movement. So that's going to make these closing things a little difficult for this, because more often than not, I either wouldn't be trading or I would trade the little micro trend with the trend. Another thing that's really helpful, folks, is to get out of the the focus on the strategy and the strategy rules. I know people want to start there, but just always do it with an overlay of risk. So this trade's down $21, $22, actually a little more than that because it was a loser before. I have a $440 daily risk budget on these accounts. Do I want any trade to be more than 10% of my daily risk budget if it goes against me? Not really. So if we see this go up a little bit higher, I don't need to stop anywhere. I just hit the close button when it's down $40. Can you use this yellow line as a target? This is a 233 EMA. Yeah, you can. It's not generally. I have it there as a trend filter and something that's used for some automated stuff that I do. When price is above that line, the strat will get bigger on longs. When it's below that line, it'll get bigger on shorts. I mean, if you get anywhere close to $440, you whack the close button. I'm just referring to the fact that the accounts that these trades are in have $440 risk budgets. They happen to be up about $200 or $300 depending on the account. So if I see this get to 10% of that, and I'm just trying to provide some guidelines for the public here. Members of my trade room will know that I act like a complete drunk monkey sometimes within overall portfolio management. Certainly letting trades go more than 10% of my daily risk budget. But more often than not, I'm green, so I'm just eating into profits, if you will. But a key takeaway from this is the Dow Jones is slow, generally. It's 50 cents a tick, easier to manage. And it's a good way to learn these types of strategies. You come over here to the NASDAQ, it's in the offer zone, and it's going to, when it moves, if it decides to pop, it's going to pop a lot faster than the Dow. Not always, but generally, right? So just don't hassle yourself with that. I do have a monkey. Hey, Carolina, how are you? All right, in 2 minutes, we're going to get our market on close, and we'll probably see a little move in one direction or the other. Okay. Yeah, right. He was, and he said he had to go. I forgot. Yeah, I should have said hello. So in 1 minute, we'll get these market on close. Again, it generally doesn't affect the Dow all that much. We got the S&P approaching the plus twos here, which will be 57.35. I think highs for the day were about 39s, right? So we're getting close. Highs on the Dow were 650s. So we're about 125 points below that. I am a good singer. Thank you. So VWAP SPY. I mentioned this in yesterday's stream. It's not a good strategy for overnight. No. And the reason is because I have the bands reset. So if you go back, like, look at this. So here's the start of the session right here. Here's the close. You don't want to be trading this. The bands just haven't expanded much. And they hugged all the way down in the overnight, and then we came in and reversed. So great question. This strategy is best traded in the New York session. The range trader is one that you can use for more overnight trading. Yeah, Adam's here. The Dow was fantastic today. For all the times I know where people say this thing, and I'm going to move back to the Nasdaq. I prefer to be tortured. All right, if it goes and makes a new high by about six points.
Order submitted.
Whoops, not a sell. Sorry.
Order canceled. Order submitted.
Members of my trade room will be like, "What are you doing? Is that a stop resting in the market?" Thanks a lot. Yep, I wrote a blog post. I put it in the. By the way, if you're not familiar, my website is tradersdevgroup.com. It's tradersdevgroup.com, and over here on my blog, this is a great post, if I do say so myself. We overcomplicate this. Here's all the strategy stuff: candlestick patterns, Fibonacci, trading psychology, books, bot signal software, secret trading message, listening or following along with whatever someone else is doing. The only thing you have to do is learn how not to lose. That's why I actually call the I'm going to close this, gang. This would be what I call time and trade. This is just like watching paint dry. So, I mean, I'm not going to keep on trades that I wouldn't keep on otherwise. So, again, this is the results for today. None of that was done here in this stream. But we'll keep at it. There'll be some closes where we can really have at it. The close on Friday was fantastic. In terms of if you're on the right side of that big push lower. I was on the wrong side of it for a little bit and then just flipped the script and saw that kind of coming. I thought they were going to blow actually even through 19,000 on Friday, and they just went down there and kissed it. And then, by the way, here we are trading almost 800 points higher, on a Wednesday. The time that's best for this strategy is in my trade room with me from 8:30 to 10 every day, Central Standard Time. Come in and watch it then. I would actually argue, and I know that this isn't great for people that are in Asia, Europe, or other parts of the world. If you really want to, and I understand you can trade the Eurobond, you can trade the DAX, you can trade the Nikkei. I know there's plenty of things to trade. I don't mean to be super US-centric. I'm just saying that if you want to really hone your skills and get a lot of swings at the plate, and I understand there's plenty of people that are teaching, no, that's frenetic. You shouldn't be trading frequently. You should have, one or two great trades. And look, there's a lot of ways to do this. Again, if you're managing risk, I don't care what you do. But if you want some swings at the plate and you want to practice and you want to see price action act kind of erratic and move around, almost as if you're doing replay at 2 times speed, it's the cash open. And whenever I refer to the cash open, that's the old pit terminology for the New York stock session open, which is 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. And if you can do that for about 90 minutes a day, if you can't, you can watch the replays that I have. I have a replay on trial. You can watch all 10 replays if you can't be there. We have people that are in Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, Vietnam, Brazil, all over the place. Plenty in Europe that are, in the case of Australia and New Zealand, it's the middle of the night when my trade room's open. I don't know if any of them are here. They get up for a few hours, they make $3,000, and then they go to sleep. This is my first day ever trading my Tradeify straight to funded. It's actually the first straight to funded I've ever bought in my whole life. And I only did it because I have some investments in some other prop firms that will be offering this, and I just wanted to kind of see it, and I've heard good things about Tradeify. And I also bought 2 of these right here. So these are my first 2 Tradeivites ever, account 1 and account 2. And probably got lucky, but we made some money. Oh, okay. And I'll meet with my team afterwards to determine whether me answering, I was either supposed to be trading or answering questions or not talking. I think that was the key. So I'm not trading. So I guess I'll answer this question because it's a great question. So someone's asking about the P&L and EC scores. If you don't know what that is, that's our proprietary way of measuring what we call risk-adjusted returns. P&L is pretty standard. What's your P&L? And then we rank that relative to your risk budget, and then EC score is your emotional capital. The lower the better. It's kind of like golf. If you never swing the club, you got a 0 on the hole, that's great. But to answer the question, which is the P&L per account or what have you, everything is done per account. And then if you have a copier on, that's fine. But you're managing risk per account. What do I mean by that? Let's say you have 3 accounts and they're all $50,000 accounts. That's $2,500 or so in drawdown. You're going to be risking maybe $250, and you have 1 lead account, and that's it. Please don't ever get into this thing where you're in one account you're short, another account you're long. That'll get you banned from the firms. It's a ridiculous way to trade anyway. What you can do is maybe you trade one account just for a little bit and you either win or lose, and then you can trade another one. Ultimately, what you want to get to the point where you feel comfortable using leverage across accounts and you just have a trade copier on. And for the most part, your P&L looks the same across all the accounts. I am going to, hold on. Let's do this. I'm going to create an FAQ because I'm going to get asked the same question a million times and people aren't going to be on the stream all the time. So let's create a stream FAQ. Hold on a second. You guys know Google Keep? It's kind of cool. I've been using it forever. All right, how many micros? Good time to trade the strategies. That was a good question. All right. Yeah, if you guys held the Dow short, eventually it got there. President Trump's tariff announcement is going to come on, so maybe we take it easy, Luke. Maybe we hang out for 5 minutes and see if he's not going to come on immediately, but oh, you know what? I wanted to make sure that I didn't have any other positions on because I screwed this up yesterday. All right. And I'm going to answer the question about the amount of micros. I was just writing some of the questions down. So we're all flat in so this is Top Step X. I just restarted these again. I run them up, I blow them up, run them up, blow them up. That way they can just reset back down. I'll never fund them, but I like to keep up with what's going on with Top Step X, and then it's good practice for me. So I have the copier on here, so should have made the same amount in all of the accounts. And the daily risk budget for these is also $440. Daily risk budget is informed by your ability to make money and protect the downside. You can't start with a $440 risk budget until you demonstrate that you're capable of making that. And my average days when I trade is generally around $400. Don't look at daily average, look more at weekly. Okay, the question was how many micros? It's completely dependent on what your daily risk budget is. So I trade a few more micros than I would suggest people do when they're first learning these things. If you read the Prop Done Right ebook, great place to start is 1 to 3 micros on the Dow Jones. Certainly not more than 1 on the MNQ when you're first starting out. It's just too big of a contract. I see a question about hedging, being long NASDAQ and short Russell or something like that. It's a shame because the whole thing is silly, and it's a rule that's more predominant, I think, at Apex. I really can't answer those questions anymore, other than to say, in your own live accounts, you can do whatever you want. At any of these prop firms, just make sure that you understand what their particular rules happen to be. And if you watch my stream from earlier in the week, maybe it was last week. Today's Wednesday. Did I do it on Monday? I might have done it last week. I can't remember. I'm still working with Apex on confirming that if you have a few micros occasionally that are in opposite directions, you should be okay. I don't know if they're going to be able to make an exception for micros. And of course, you shouldn't be trading minis anyway. So anyway, when will the options on futures videos be released? Work in progress. Maybe never. Yeah, John, my situation is kind of unique. I'm fortunate to. So the question is, why are you doing this? They actually contacted me twice and asked as well. And the answer is, I got these for $5. So I have 5 of them for $5 each. These cost me $25. I don't need any more funded accounts. I don't need it. I have them there. They're $5 each, and now I can keep track of what TopStep is doing and what they're doing with TopStep X because they're white labeling this product elsewhere, and it's helpful for me for competitive reasons. I don't need to activate them and then get XFAs or what have you. And I don't always get them to the objective. Sometimes I don't have time to trade them during the month, but generally if I trade them like 5 to 10 days, I'll pass them every time because these strategies work. If you do a framework of what I'm talking about with no stress and no trouble and no deep drawdowns or whatever, you'll be able to. I don't know if you can see this at the bottom, but today I traded a couple ZNs and ZTs in here, which is a bigger contract. Other than that, I don't know. Can you guys see this down here? Everything is 1 micro, everybody. 1 micro. Okay? And so the final point is that TopStep is one of the few firms that's still allowing treasury trading as well. So today was a good example of why I wanted to trade this. And I would say that a good majority of the profits in TopStep today were from trading the ZN and the ZT. Just one contract, but that's a heck of a lot bigger than a micro. So, and my editing team is probably already pissed off that I'm I'm not just sitting on a chart. Anyway, I'm not trading anymore, so we'll just finish off answering the questions. We'll be done with the stream. So that John, hopefully that's helpful. Yeah, my situation is going to be a little unique. Don't you go out there and just purposely ever blow anything up or do anything like that. But I don't know. I think I asked before, and I don't know if they'll ever have a special like this again. And so far, I've been grandfathered for. I bought these over a year ago, and so far, knock on wood, I get 5 accounts for $25 a month, which that's a good deal for me. Have I traded the microcurrencies and stuff? I've traded all this, just basically everything that's ever existed. But I'm not doing much with the currencies. I try to keep it to just 6 instruments, which is the stock index futures, little gold, occasionally some crude oil, and now micro Bitcoin. All right, Trump's ready to talk. Yeah, in terms of rules for any specific firm, I'm really hoping that more and more firms will just go to a reasonable daily risk budget, and that's the only rule. I'd love them to reduce overall size, the amount of size that you can actually trade. I'd love them if they just cut that in half, if not more. I don't know if the market, would like that, but they should just cut all the size in half. Instead of 5 minis, it should be 2 maybe. I'll tell you this, you can absolutely earn a living, pass all these programs, get payouts without too much stress or whatever, trading 1 or 2 micros. Let me say that again, 1 or 2 micros. And the reason that I can tell you that is because that's all I do over here in an account that is as real as it gets in terms of the correlation between the prop program game and this. I would never, ever trade a mini in here. I could crush my whole daily risk budget, which is also $440, in one trade. I posted this here to Discord to show that I'm actually up stuck. I want to be clear, on this whole thing of showing statements and all that stuff. You can do it, but this is just although I made $291 today, I'm down from a recent high of $47.21. where I lost $600 or $700 on Friday. So I'm just building it back up. This chart doesn't look right because the balance should be like up here. But the point of this is that this is as big as most prop accounts when you're first starting out. And what you need to do and the way you need to think is treat this like $4,000 or $5,000 of your real own money. When you finally get to that funded account, treat it like it's a real $2,000 because it is. You have the ability to get paid on phony money. If you want to develop discipline or anything like that, or if you're complaining about any of the programs, take $4,000 or $5,000 of your own money and learn what I'm teaching here. This $291 is mine now. I can do whatever I want with it. I can take it out. I can take a $1,400 withdrawal. I can take a $4,000 withdrawal.
The market is closed.
All right, that will be it for today. Thanks for everybody for joining. And I hate to sound like one of these YouTube streamer beggars, but it really does help if you can hit the like button. It will expose this stream to more people. And if you have a comment, please leave it. I like interacting with the public. Most people that have nice things to say don't say anything, which is fine. We don't have to have a whole thing going on in the comments. I got some great ones the other day, like another bozo using lagging indicators. You got me, dude. That's it. Go out there with your pure price action. My lagging indicators. You mean things that put levels that I can reference and teach off of? Take it easy, Carolina. Be good. When I size down dramatically, my equity curve took much steadier. I'm making just as much money at the end of it. There you go, John. Plus, you know what else is happening? Your emotional capital, right? Look, if I could write the trading psychology book in 2 words, 1 page. Some of you might guess what it is. It's not, it depends. Here's my trading psychology book. I should sell it for $1,000. It's 2 words, 1 page. But if I keep gabbing long enough, eventually Trump's gonna, is he on now? Let me see. Oh yeah, he's talking. So 2 words, 1 page. Size down. That's it. Size down. All right, congratulations to anyone who's still holding a short Dow or short anything. We've come in a little bit. We're up in the offer zone, come down a little bit there. NASDAQ out of the offer zone. Targets would be VWAP down here. Don't fiddle in the middle. I love it all. Roddy's a legend. Most valuable lesson for you. Okay, that'll be it. Stay green, trade like you mean it. We'll see you at the stream tomorrow. Remember, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, noon till 1 p.m. West Coast on the left coast. I'll be streaming live. Tell your friends. Hit the subscribe button, like the video. It all helps out. And if you want more, the best way to find out how to do this and join a community of like-minded folks is to download that Prop Done Right ebook, and there'll be plenty of places in there where I tell you how you can get involved in our community if you'd like. We'll see you at the next stream. Be good. Thanks.